Good evening, I'm Patrick Serrano, and this is the KQBH News Update. Yesterday, Joseph Biden was inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States. Former California Senator Kamala Harris has become the first woman to take the seat as Vice President. Former California Secretary of State and Pacoima resident Alex Padilla was sworn in by Vice President Harris to replace her in her Senate seat. Vice President Harris also swore in Georgia's Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock to their new Democratic Senate seats, shifting Georgia, a traditionally Republican state, into a Democrat state. With these new Democrat seats, the Democrat Party now has the single tie-breaking vote of the 50-50 split Senate. With this advantage, the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is hoping to get the Senate's cooperation to move quickly to appoint President Biden's cabinet nominations, such as Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary, Anton Blinken as State Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas as Homeland Security Secretary, and Lloyd Austin as Defense Secretary. In his first 2 days in office, Joe Biden signed more than a dozen executive actions, many that reversed the decisions of two-time impeached former President Donald Trump. Detailing these actions, President Biden will start a nationwide face mask and social distancing mandate in federal buildings, on federal lands, and for federal employees and contractors. He will restructure the federal government's coordination to the COVID-19 pandemic, a plan to speed up vaccine production using the Defense Production Act, encouraging all states to vaccinate people 65 and older, certain essential workers such as teachers and grocery store employees. He has set a goal of giving 100 million shots in 100 days, outpacing the 17 million shots the Trump administration had made in a little over a month. Executive actions were also to rejoin the World Health Organization, to extend evictions and foreclosure moratoriums until at least March 31st, continue the pause on student loan payments until September 30th, as well as reaffirming his pledge to cancel $10,000 of student loans. The executive actions included rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement, ending the Keystone XL pipeline, which would revoke pipeline permits, as well as revoking oil and gas development at national wildlife monuments. Executive actions to advance racial equality through the federal government, count non-citizens in the U.S. Census again, strengthen workplace discrimination protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity, defend Dreamer programs for undocumented young Americans, ending the Muslim travel ban from 2017 that restricted travel and immigration to Syria, Iran, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen, an executive order to repeal and reform Trump's immigration and custom enforcement policies, otherwise known as ICE, stopping the border wall construction, as well as extending protections to Liberians from forced departure until June 30th, 2022, freezing last-minute Trump administration regulation actions, and lastly to distribute a ethics pledge contract to every executive branch employee to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice. Biden is asking for more than $400 million for the pandemic response as part of the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Biden has said he wants the majority of K-8 schools to open in his first 100 days. Vice President Kamala Harris spoke to Univision, saying that the administration would automatically grant green cards not only to undocumented essential workers, but also to DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, recipients, as well as temporary protected status holders, and shorten by 5 years the time it takes to get U.S. citizenship. Some immigration advocates question whether it is enough. Stated in the Boyle Heights Beat, the outlet cited an interview with Mary Kay Henry, president of SEIU, on a press call for America's Voice. Quote, "Millions of immigrant workers are on the front lines, risking their lives to keep our country running. The depth of this crisis requires urgency. We can't beat the virus when millions of undocumented essential workers are left out. Providing a fast track to citizenship is the only way we'll be able to tackle the pandemic." Biden also signed an executive order to disband Donald Trump's presidential 1776 commission that aimed to promote patriotic education, which aimed to glorify the country's founders and play down America's role in slavery, and condemning the rise of progressive political figures and arguing against the civil rights movement. I'm Patrick Serrano for KQBH News 101.5, KQBH-LP, Los Angeles, California, a community service of Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory. You can find us with the app LPFMLA or ednixon.com.